All righty, we are live. Welcome back to the Red Corner, folks. We got the whole gang here. Opening day week has arrived. Boys, how we doing? Slim, we had an active weekend, right? Very active weekend. What do you think of the show?
Hey, the Cherry Hill show again. The Fishtown Car Show is the brand. This time it was at the Doubletree in Cherry Hill. It was awesome. Again, a big space. It was a packed house. We met another 40 to 50 Red Riders, and all these people that we met were awesome. We had family-owned businesses that have been selling cars for decades again through the generations, and then we had people who got into the card industry during COVID, like so many other people got into new little habits. So it's been awesome reaching out and being able to connect with people who really enjoy what they do, because that's the main thing. We all love baseball and we all love sports in some kind of facet.
We do, and our rookie debut for the card show standpoint was the Fishtown Card Show a couple months ago. Obviously, similar vibes here. We saw some familiar faces, which was cool. A couple people came up to us that remembered us from last time. The other thing that I wanted to give a shout out to was the gentleman Michael that won our game. Right, so the Red Corner at our table, we were doing a little baseball game where you pitch it into a hole, and whoever has the highest score won Phillies tickets, actually. So congratulations. Shout out to Michael. He'll be going to the Phillies games against the Brewers with the Red Corner. So we'll be hanging out with him again this year. That's going to be a blast. And then also wanted to give a shout out to Big Man Cards, Matt. We hung out with him for a while, Slim. He was an awesome dude, kind of taught us everything there is to know about the card world. So it was a fun day, and like you said, we met a ton of people.
Yeah, a lot's happening in the card markets.
A lot is happening in the card markets.
Cool. Also, it was cool. The game was fun, but it was also cool to see some of the Red Riders who were down in Clearwater popping up the car shows with their kids and hanging out. So that was awesome to see.
100%. And speaking of Clearwater, it's good to be back, right, boys? It was beautiful down there, but there is no place like home. And guys, if you are in the chat, if you are watching live, please, you know the drill. I say it every week. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. You'll see the ticker floating down at the bottom. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're all over the place. But just hit that subscribe button because it helps. Sometimes we keep people waiting with the raffles. This week, we're going to jump on right in. So, Bones, we got the bundle here. Who won this week?
All right, here we go. Another big entry after you guys had the weekend at the card show. We got a lot of new people in here, and they all hopefully subscribed.
They did.
They got into this.
And honestly, if you've been a loyal Red Rider, if you're a new Red Rider, thank you for taking a plunge. I don't know if you guys have been hearing the garbage that's been on WIP, the negativity stream that just keeps coming out of that place. But, I'm happy for all the people who are finally taking the leap, jumping over to the video podcast world, listening to the Red Corner, and leaving the WIP hot takes to the curb. So, welcome.
All right.
Yeah, we don't do the clicky-click game. All right, go ahead, Bones. Who we got? Who's the winner?
The winner this week is Shane Riley.
Oh, we got a big winner.
Shane Riley.
Shane
all right, nice.
Riley.
We'll have to check where we met him at. He might be an IG guy. Congratulations, Shane. You won the bundle. You saw all the stuff there. We got the hat. Congratulations, man. Yeah. Gentlemen, there has been a lot. Some weeks we kind of go into the week. We're like, all right, how are we going to fill up the time? How are we going to position the show? This one, it was like, how are we going to get all this in 45 minutes or less? So there has been a lot of announcements over the past 24 hours in the world of the Phillies, right? Biggest one, I'm gonna say this is the biggest one, even though it's probably not. But our boy Cody Clemens, who we predicted about 2 months ago to win the final roster spot. A lot of the experts out there, and no, we're not throwing shade. They thought we were foolish for this, but no, we were saying all along. Slim, I'm looking at you here. Cody's a professional baseball player, a big leaguer at that. What do you think about Cody making the big league team?
I think it was kind of inevitable, because he's been here. But really today when I was thinking about it, because the other guy that is now going to probably be end up if he's not traded, designated for assignment and hopefully picked up because I think he's a ball player too. Is Buddy Kennedy, right? We saw Buddy Kennedy go out in the outfield, really try to build up his versatility. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, that's a really, really tough call. I would hate to lose Buddy Kennedy. But at the end of the day, I think Clemens, not just with his bat, but I think he's proven his versatility, being able to play the corner outfield positions as well as first base, right? So I think he's proven himself not just with his bat, but with his versatility in the outfield as well as once in a while there at first base. So I'm excited for him. I know he's a left-handed hitter, but yeah, I'm excited. And it is a shame that we're going to lose Buddy Kennedy because I think that guy's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's great news for Clemens, and I think one of the big things he's coming back, besides the way he was swinging the bat this year, and like you said, how versatile he is around in the infield, is just like the gel with the team. Like he's been around these guys before. As we've seen, they just lost Garrett Stubbs. They sent him down to the minors. Marchand is going to be the backup. I think this might have played a role. Like he's been around just the boys, and you know how much Rob Thompson looks at the gel of the team when he's constructing it. So I think that's one of the big keys for him sticking around too.
But for real, Devo, like you said with the first base thing, one thing that's been grinding my gears really, especially last year, is we saw Nick Castellanos play 162 games. Why can't we mix it up and get him more looks out there, you know? Especially when I'm not going to sit here and hate on Nick Castellanos, right? I'm not going to do it anymore. But we know what he is. He's hot or he's ice cold, right? So there's obvious times, especially with him, where we could probably give him some time off. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? That seems like a stretch for me, but that's something that I would like to see, especially if Thompson and them are going to look to be mixing this lineup up day to day or whatnot. Why doesn't he play in the outfield more? Right? That's the question. Why doesn't he get more looks, especially if he's going to be hitting well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've gone back and forth on this a lot, and obviously the performance that you see on the field sometimes doesn't always translate to what they're getting paid, right? So Castellanos, I think a lot of times people thought, okay, he's getting paid $20-something million a year, right? So he's going to be the everyday player. And his performance has awarded him that, right? We're not going to argue that, and there's a lot of haters. You said last week you're going to keep his name out your mouth. But the reality is he probably shouldn't be playing 162 games, right? We're not here for the Castellanos Pride Award contest, right? We're here to win every game that we can. And if taking him off his feet however many times can lead us to one or two more wins a year, that counts. And to your point, maybe Cody Clemens is that guy. We will see. Again, we're going to have Weston Wilson waiting in the wings as well. So we'll see where all this shakes out. But I just kind of wanted to give Cody his flowers, give him a shout out.
And
we were kind of on pace. Yeah, good.
One more thing. It's a small tidbit because, like we said, we're on Phillies overload now. But Marchand being a right-hand bat, which we mentioned before, maybe that gave them a little leeway with keeping Clemens as well, right? Because now that you don't have Stubbs, like Bone said, you have Marchand, who actually might be able to, produce, maybe get a hit here or there in a situation, unlike a Stubbs. And he's a right-hander.
I believe Marchand is a left-hander.
I believe he's a right-hander.
We'll fact check that. But let's go. Bones, fact check that as I go to.
Go to the chat.
Yeah, go to the chat and see what they say.
Who's the unpaid intern in the chat that can fact check me? Because I thought he was a right-hand bat, and I thought that was pretty critical with that. I'm not sure if Marchand.
He's left-handed.
Yeah, he's left-handed. All right, so let's go to the chat because we got some activity here. So Matty Dub says, hopefully Taijuan Walker gets lost in the woods somewhere. So speaking of Taijuan Walker, a lot has happened in his world, right? So our boy Ranger, it seems like we can't get away from these back injuries. So here we are again. Rob Thompson saying it's going to be at least 3 weeks. So out with Ranger by default, in with Taijuan. And then with Taijuan now going to the rotation, as it looks like he's going to be getting 2 to 3 starts, we also signed reliever Carlos Hernandez off of the waivers. So we're not going to spend too much time on Carlos Hernández. We'll see what he means. Maybe that's a nothing burger. Maybe he's an arm this year. But the Taijuan Walker thing. Let's start with you, Bones. Where are we at on this?
I said a couple weeks ago, I thought there was no shot he was going to make this roster, and then it comes out that Rangers got back problems. Like, we knew he had problems before, but comes up again. It's awful because you've seen his last two spring training starts. Today was awful. Last week against the Yankees, 4 homers.
Right.
Awful. And I don't think the one that Ben Rice had landed yet. And if it did, it had one in somebody's car window. But he is just bad. But reading and listening, they're hoping he doesn't make many starts.
Right.
Coming out of this, like in the first couple series, they have days off in between, so they might be able to like skip that start and just go with the 4-man rotation early on because of the days off. But you never know with this April weather.
Exactly.
That they got going, and the break where he would start would be probably against the best team in baseball, and that's the Dodgers.
Is that?
Yeah.
That would be our law.
So the idea was he would skip the start versus the Rockies next week. Next week.
Yeah. The opening in the home opener series, and then the one after.
Right.
Oh.
So obviously you can't account for injury, right? And it's funny, we just like how we were talking about the whole leadoff hitter, we'll get into that. We were 100% sure one thing. Now we were 100% sure Taijuan was gone, and here he is now. So listen, we saw what he did last year. We saw what he did his last two spring training starts. He wasn't getting like hit around. He got rocked twice, right? And I know spring training is spring training, but he was getting rocked. And my question here is, and I'm just looking at you, Slim, at what point is it malpractice for us to put him out there? Is it 2 starts? Because we all said, we agreed on the show, we were a 5th starter away from 100 wins last year. Easy. We can't afford to lose these games in April, doesn't matter what month it is. So, Slip, where are we at? When is it malpractice?
You know what? This is why it's seriously unfortunate that Rangers hurt again. Maybe we should acquire another pitcher. This pitching depth is very important. But the truth is, they're making the right move with starting him. You got to hope you squeeze anything out of him.
For sure.
Because you hate Taijuan, but I hate Tyler Phillips even more, right? He's worse. He's way worse than Taijuan Walker, and he has no track record besides being one of those terrible starters last year in the second half that we've seen a couple times. With that being said, I'm hoping, I'm praying. I'll be betting against Taijuan Walker if he's starting next week, no matter what it is. I'm betting against him. But with that said, as a Phillies fan, I'm hoping he has a little bit of that Marcus Stroman attitude in him, and maybe that now that he has all this negative energy just coming at him, that he responds and shuts us up, right? You mentioned Ranger a couple weeks ago saying you guys forgot. Well, 2 years ago, Walker wasn't great, but he had a ton of wins, and we paid him $78 million. He was good with Arizona for at least 1 year, So maybe all this, approval ratings go back and forth. His is way down, so it can only go up. And hopefully whenever it is, if it's next Monday, Tuesday, middle of the week, or that Dodgers series, hopefully he can prove us wrong. With that said, he was definitely a better option than Tyler Phillips.
Yeah, listen, we got an active chat. I wanted to kind of give some people shout-outs because they're going a lot of interesting directions. So we have Nick Dawn saying, I still would like to see if the Phils can make a deal and get Trout in the outfield for the rest of the year. Angels are going to be terrible anyway. Bones, you think that there's – and I know and Bones is a huge Trout lover. You think there's any way we can do a trade deadline move for him, or is this not going to make sense?
No, and I hope not, because he's not going to be – he'll be out hurt by the trade deadline. We'll just leave that there.
But in a scenario where
this would be like the Phillies trade for him. It's like if somebody trades for Joel Embiid, knowing that his career track record with injuries is just awful, and then you got to give him an awful contract. along with it.
But on this team, though, right? Because we're a team that we're primed for a big move this mid-season. We're primed for one. Even with the addition
like
of
Genie
Lazard.
Wish.
Right, exactly. It's your Genie Wish. So with that said, you wouldn't love if you could get them on a nice little deal from the Angels? Because the Angels, they're going to be probably bad, but they're going to...
That would be fun. There'd be a lot of Mike Trout jerseys.
Early. Their favorites are they get the White Sox early, the first series, so they're going to win a couple games.
And Matty Dub said in the chat here that Walker's like an ex that won't leave you alone. Yeah, man, this is a toxic relationship with us and Taijuan Walker.
Stage 5 clinger.
Stage 5 clinger. We can't get away from this guy. We will see where this goes.
On the road, you think, instead of home, right? Now, is that a real reason? Is that Dodgers series at home, Bones? Because man, if he walks, it is at home.
Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers got the best player in baseball at almost every position, so I'm not sure if it matters who starts when we face them.
No, I'm not sure it matters either. But all right, so we kind of hit on the main, roster acquisition, roster decisions at the end of the year there. Now let's just briefly talk about the Phillies and the Nationals. Right, we make our opening day this Thursday, March 27th, against the Nationals. Mackenzie Gore's on the mound. Bones, what are you thinking about this series? We'll be talking a lot more about it, but where are we at?
So Mackenzie Gore, he's a young kid. He came over in the Juan Soto deal from the Padres, along with C.J. Abrams, who's also on this roster. These guys they're a good young team. I think they're going to be better than what they're projected this year. We'll get into that another time. But he's somebody that the Phillies hit around in the last couple of years, but he's getting better and better each year. Last year I think he had 10 wins, sub-4 ERA, approaching 200 strikeouts. He's going out there and making all the starts. He's not going to really overpower you like a lot of these young kids are now with heavy fastball. He's sits to low to mid 90s, and then he's going to come over with his all speed stuff to help him out. Lefty, so tougher to hit, see the ball. So we'll see. We'll get into who's going to lead off that day. Looks like maybe Trey Turner. We'll get into that a little bit soon, but
we'll be getting into that. Yep,
it should be a good series. Nice young team versus the Phillies. See if they got match the energy that this young group is going to come out with.
I like the matchup early on. I think we're going to come out, especially if we have with the new lineup. I think there's opportunities to probably jump on this kid early on. And if it's close, I'm not too worried because we have the bullpen depth. I'm not expecting the Nationals bullpen to blow us off. So with the new lineup, I'm expecting a couple of big booms, a couple homers come on Thursday. I think we score probably over 4 runs, and I think we have an easy time on Thursday. I think it's a no sweat game for us on Thursday. Maybe it takes us to the 4th, 5th inning, but yeah, I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a series we should win, right? That's there's no denying that. Another kind of chat call out here. Shane R said, "What about Spencer Turnbull?" Yeah, I mean, last I heard, he was a free agent. He was injured last year, and he was pitched well for us for the most part. Bones, what's your thought on that? Where is he? What's going on with him?
Is he healthy? I mean, if he's healthy, give him a shot. But I don't know, especially with the injuries he had. I don't know where he's at physically, if he's able to even go.
No, well, but go ahead.
It seems like he's not on the Phillies' mind at all. Like I made the joke about Tyler Phillips. It seems like Turnbull falls even below him in whatever picking order they've had. And
which is surprising.
And these are guys that we saw last year who couldn't get the job done. One thing I can say though, I got to start remembering all these guys' names, is that it seems like the Phillies' deep organization is active in trying to find arms that can be developed or used stat either in the bullpen or in these starting roles in these spot starts.
Right.
Escape. So we are working, I think, on trying to find something. I wouldn't be shocked if we do see a deal in the near future, maybe the first month. I really wouldn't be shocked at all.
Hey, maybe they get something
100%.
for Buddy Kennedy.
Right.
Maybe we
right.
get something for Buddy Kennedy. And now, Slim, you're 100% right. Like, if you're not one of those blue chipper Andrew Painter guys, right, where, like, there's just, like, no hesitation, you're a starting pitcher in the major leagues, the Phillies, you're 100% right. They're making it clear that if you're a guy like Mick Abel, if you're a guy like whatever, one of these Mercado, Phillips type guys, you better be willing to be a hybrid. A long man is the phrase we hear more and more nowadays, right? But help the Phillies organization any way you can. And that's exactly right.
And maybe not trade, but maybe like Boone says, maybe there's going to be other people that are going to be popping up because some of these other organizations have some left or who knows, arms that they don't want, but we'll see. It seems to be a scarcity for most teams.
But with pitchers, there's going to be a lot of people jumping on that, trying to jump on into that game,
So how would it work
absolutely.
early on, right? If you get designated for assignment, who gets first grabs if there's 0 games right now? Because in my mind, I'm thinking it's like the waiver in a fantasy league or an NFL league. The worst team gets first dibs. How does it work in the MLB, Bones? When they get designated for assignment, they got to pass through waivers, and then they go to the minors.
That I know.
It's
well, designated for assignment is they got 10 days to either trade them or cut them at that point, or send them to the minors. But with Kennedy, he's obviously out of the options for the minors. So
so there's no spring training waivers type things that we should be keeping an eye on.
No.
Okay.
All right, boys. Anything else we want to hit on as far as the opening day roster? Because we have a big announcement that we're about to make right now, and I'm very excited to make this announcement. So, anything else?
No.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we have a new weekly segment that we are going to be introducing right now, and it's called Feel the Love, brought to you by our new partner, Love City Brewing. So obviously, if you are in the Philadelphia area, you have most likely heard of Love City Brewing. They are one of the best breweries, in my opinion, the best brewery in Philadelphia. The beer is delicious. We have all the information at the top corner there. I actually have my Smooth Tempo Pilsner right here with me, one of my favorite offerings that they have. And
Love City, they do all types of stuff too. Remember, they have
all types of stuff.
We've been to engagement parties. We've been to work events. We've been to all types of things these past few years. I'm super excited.
Birthday parties.
Birthday parties. Super duper excited to work with them this summer, and hopefully we ride the Phillies and the Love Train all the way to Red October.
Absolutely, and we've announced on our socials kind of what this relationship is going to look like. But the main things are during our tailgates, right? There will be 6 Red Corner tailgates this season. Slim, Bones, and myself will be drinking Love City beers all year. So you'll see us at the tailgates with Love City beers. So shout out to them for that. The other kind of piece of this is obviously this Feel the Love segment, but there's another in-person element, and that is we'll be doing watch parties at Love City's brewery. Look in the top corner there. They're located at 1023 Hamilton Street in the Callow Hill section of Philadelphia. It's right between Chinatown and Northern Liberties. You can't miss it off of Spring Garden. So we're going to be doing this segment all year. And what this is, Bones, you're going to kick it off. We're going to talk about the player that we feel the love for, or maybe not always a player, but the thing we feel the most love for that week. So, Bones, who you feel the love for?
So, the opening Feel the Love for me is to Justin Crawford.
Oh, nice pick.
Batted .364 this year. Couple stolen bases. He had 11 at-bats. But the reason being is they're going to start him at AAA this year.
Right.
Last year he was like rising through the minor league system. Started in like low A, went up, kept on going up, finished at Double A. This year he got some looks playing in spring training games, and with this move to AAA, it just seems like if Marsh or Rojas have a slip up, he's coming up. He's going to be the first man. They're going to throw right in the outfield, and I'm going to love that. We've seen what the Eagles did with rookies this year with them. Step up. I'm showing the love for Justin Crawford this week because I'm excited to see this kid play.
That's a great pick. Slim, where are you at?
I'm excited for Justin Crawford as well, but I'm going to talk about someone who's probably going to be in a big-time game situation this Thursday, and that's the dominance of Jose Alvarado. I have been loving watching what this guy's been doing all spring training.
The Grizzly Bear.
And to understand, first off, in the relief pitching game, as we know, it is bigly about the ninth inning. There's no doubt the closers are important. But you want a guy that you can put in the 7th, the 8th, and 9th, whenever is going to be the most important spot of the entire game. In the postseason, 100%. It might even be before that, if you get yourself in trouble. We have a guy who looks like he can throw 100 pretty consistent. His breaking ball breaks at the consistent rate of guys who throw much, much slower than him, right? So usually think about the science behind throwing a baseball. If you're gunning a ball, it's going too fast to even break hard, right? But somehow our guy has a breaking ball that breaks hard and it's coming in fast. He hasn't, so I can't wait to see what he can do. I will actually, even though I mentioned his big time in big decisions, I would love for him to be a solidified closer because I do think it's important.
I would love that for him too.
We see Strom looks like he's going to be healthy. I would love to see like a Kirkland, Strom, Alvarado, and it's like we get to the 7th. I would love this Thursday to jump on them in the first 3 innings to get a couple runs, then get a couple more between innings 4 and 6, and then the game be done with the guy I love, Jose Alvarado, the flamethrower. Let's go.
That's an awesome pick, and I completely agree with you. I would love that for him. His stuff has looked ridiculous this spring, and we've all seen the rap on him, right? He throws the balls as hard as anyone. He's got nice stuff. He's added the curveball like you were hitting on. The biggest thing on him has been the control, right? And the mental side. When he loses it, he loses it. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen this year because I love the guy, and I also feel the love for him. But I'm gonna change it up a little bit, and I'm gonna channel and I'm gonna feel the love for Taijuan Walker. There's not a guy who needs the positive energy and the love more than Taijuan. Everyone was saying in the spring, his velocity's up, his command's up, his stuff looks better than ever. He's in better shape. He looks more athletic on the mound. We heard it all, right? We heard all these things about Taijuan. Then when the announcement gets made that it's looking like he's going to be on the team, it's looking like he might be in the rotation, we get 2 totally rocked starts. So I think he needs this positive energy. He needs it because it's between the years. He is not a 7.96 ERA pitcher or whatever it is. He's somewhere between 4 and there. I don't know where, but I'm sending him positive energy. I'm sending him some love. I'm hoping that he doesn't, make this blow up in my face, but that is where I'm at. I'm hoping that he can kind of connect us and bridge us to Ranger whenever that is.
The Phillies are going to be killing us here with maybe pushing him back, not naming when he's going to start. But his first start we should do at the at Love City Brewery.
Yeah.
Right. We should watch the game there.
That's a cool. I like that. We will do that. So we'll mark that calendar spot. A lot of fun chat activity. Matty Dubs said Justin Crawford will be your starting center fielder by July. I'll tell you what, that would be exciting, but I don't know if I want that to happen. Only because I don't know what that means for the production of the bats out there. But hey, man, love to have it.
Friends. It's going to be Rojas, and maybe again we're talking about trade pieces. I mentioned Marsh before. I think if Marsh is doing well again, I think he's a guy we can move because I don't think he's A++ in the center field.
Right.
Yeah, maybe we can move him with Buddy Kennedy for a starting pitcher or something along those lines. I think we're going to see. I think at least 2 trades before this before summer.
Oh, love it.
Well,
Willie
before
D
July.
coming in saying the Rays bats felt his love today. Yeah, I mean, whew. Yeah, it was batting
feel the
practice
love.
for sure.
Get it all out now. Get it all out now.
Get it all out now. So, again, this was the inaugural Feel the Love segment, which will be a weekly segment all season. Shout out to Love City Brewing for being our official beer partner of the 2025 season. And be on the lookout again for all of our watch parties and us at the tailgates. We will post all that stuff on our socials. Gentlemen, let us move on. Let's get back to business. And let's talk about something that we were 100% sure on, right? We were 100% sure, us and the rest of Twitter, that Trey Turner was going to be the everyday leadoff hitter. So, Slim, I'm going to start with you on this one. There's been a lot of chatter that it seems like, and you and I were talking about this at the Cherry Hill card show, that the Phillies might be considering, per Rob Thompson, a alternating lefty-righty leadoff man. Do you think that's going to happen, Slim?
I like the idea. I think it's another thing that keeps these guys. I think one of the advantages we had last year, I think one of the reasons we got out to a hot start is because we were so engaged in the game. That's a positive, I say, with Nick Castellanos. He's very engaged and watching what everything's going on with the entire team,
right,
not just with himself. I think a way to make him even more engaged now is, all right, you're not 100% set in a lineup spot, All right, all right, if you're a big dog, you might have an idea. I'm going to be 1, I'm going to be 2. If you're Bryce Harper, 2 or 3, or Bohm 3, Schwarber 4 or 1. But I like that idea. I like keeping them on their toes. I think it's going to keep them engaged, and it's going to give them the leniency down the line, right? Because the last 2 years, especially I would say 2 years ago when we lost to Arizona, we had to make moves that we didn't, that Thompson just didn't have the guts to make. There was no way you can tell a Turner to change his approach right then and there or move him down the lineup. There's no way you can sit in Nick Castellanos. He tried to do it last year with Bohm a little bit, and it didn't really work, right? It was kind of a little too late, 2 years too late on that kind of thing. But we've seen that be a theme. So now, if you already set the tempo with that kind of stuff, and he's already respected, right? Everybody wants to fire Thompson, but he's already built the relationships and he's respected that he can be like, yo, we're going to try this now, right? What do you guys think?
Bones.
I think this is stupid.
Nah.
Because
he's over managing.
Yeah, like the one thing is you're taking Schwarber. You won tons of games with him at leadoff, right? So you already are thinking about taking him out of the leadoff role, right?
Right.
So that's just saying something went wrong last year. We're trying to fix it. We're trying to patch something up right now. But I think it's the right move anyway to move him out of the leadoff spot. Now, if you're going to alternate this with Turner versus left-handed pitching as leadoff and Schwarber versus right-handed pitching, this just doesn't affect the leadoff spot. This goes who's batting second with Schwarber at leadoff, right? Is it Turner? Turner, then Harper, then who?
It changes, but here's the thing: a couple things. You put Turner in first; it forces Turner to see more pitches, right? Because now it's like you're not in a place where you should be trying to slug at all. You should be trying to get on base and steal, and so it really forces his hand. I've heard criticism from 2 years from some of the people who are in this chat room right now. They would say, "What are you going to? What do you want Thompson to tell him? To watch the pitch, watch the pitch." Well, no, you don't tell him anything. You move his position in the order, and you force his hand, right? So that's one thing. Is it my favorite lineup? Is it the lineup Slim wants out there? If he was the manager, no. But I see the approach, and I can see the long-term impact that it can establish for us now.
Now, you're doing that. Are you doing it for the lefty-righty matchup, or are you doing it because he's not doing his job as a leadoff hitter? That's what you got to do. Like, give him time.
That's
like
a couple
years, like when he started off as leadoff hitter 2 years ago. He lasted 2 weeks because they were losing, and he
Right.
wasn't doing good. Let him do it. Let's see what happens, because apparently something's changing with the Phillies because their approach. They led the majors in walks during spring training. So
I'm glad you brought that up.
Last year they were 6 out of 12 in the playoffs, so they were dead average. So they were a little bit better than even the year before.
As Dombrowski loves to bring up, right?
As Dombrowski loves to bring up, right? Exactly, right. But with that said, my one, the point's going to escape me. I had the Turner point, the lineup point. Just I forget, but
Castellanos. Did you want to talk about Castellanos at 7?
Not too much. We've seen him bat low, and that's the thing. Some people might be surprised seeing that, but we've seen him low in the order before. We've seen him. He's a guy. This is my point. It doesn't really matter where you bat outside a couple specific dudes. I would say basically outside Harper, because he's like your bread and butter guy. I think the other guys are pretty flexible, because they're basically studying the pitchers they're going to see. So who cares where you're at in the order? When you're up, go hit. And going back to the order we saw, there were spots. Like I said, it's not my favorite order, but you got to start in the 8th spot. All the advanced analytics say, oh, that 8 guy has to be like one of your fancier, maybe underrated hitters. And the way we talk about Stott, that's exactly what he's going to be or not be. So that 8-hole spot, he could really be. And then with Schwarber in the 4-hole, and I probably think too much into this, but with him in the 4-hole, I get upset because he's not going to be one of the first 3 at-bats. I like to see him get 4 to 5 at-bats guaranteed every game. In the 4-hole, maybe that's a little bit harder, but he might be able to lead off an inning after an ugly first inning, right? So that's an interesting little thing, But that might happen so infrequently, hopefully. That
Stott 13 walks during spring training compared to 6 strikeouts. So
he had 13. Huge. That's huge. Listen to this. If Turner gets on base, if Stott can get on base, Bowman, Kepler were hitting baseballs all spring. These guys are looking to hit. We know that Castellanos is going to be streaky, but he's going to bring a little bit of power and a decent amount of doubles. We know Harper's going to be, to some people, an MVP. Harper's right up there with guys. Don't be surprised if Harper has a better year than a guy like Acuna, because Acuna and the Braves are not even healthy yet. I'm looking at it, Strider. These guys are not even healthy yet. So we're in a good spot as with the Phillies right now. And I think, like I said, we're going to have an easy win Thursday.
Slim, you hit on analytics. And speaking of that, a lot of the analytics and the data, the raw data that kind of shows the marginal difference between lineups and wins over the course of the entire year show that, believe it or not, it's not that big of a difference. Meaning, if you have a good roster, if you have a good nine guys, they're going to win baseball games. Now, what makes it very interesting to me, as Bones hit on, is the over-managing aspect. Now, what the analytics don't tell you is, in the morale, in the department of locker room, all that stuff, right? If we start off 4-8 on the year, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen, the narrative is going to be, we're over-managing, we're moving people around too much, right? So that's where it's important, because if it spirals from there, where the narratives come in. It's, you don't believe in me. I'll tell you right now, you didn't want to hit on Castellanos. I am going to hit on the Castellanos thing. Now, Matt Gelb reported on the opening day lineup, it has Castellanos hitting 7th, behind both Real Muto and Kepler. Now, I'm going to be honest. This might be a nothing burger. This might not be popping up a lot. But if all year long Real Muto is stationed above Castellanos, I think Castellanos earned to be hitting above him based off last year. So if I'm him, I'm not happy that I'm batting 2 spots behind Real Muto personally. But just wanted to throw that out there.
No, I'm for that. Romuta should be 7 spot.
Yeah.
But like you talk about switching the lineup, like the lineup all the time, and they did it last year where Marsh didn't bat against lefties, Stott didn't really play against lefties, right? So, but now they're saying Marsh is going to be your everyday center fielder, whether it's a left-hander or right-hander in there. So why are you changing the lineup based off of lefty righty
lefty, yeah.
at this point.
And again,
now.
we don't know for sure that's
like
happening.
You should be able to hit. You're
Yeah.
a professional baseball hitter. You should be able to hit no matter if the guy's lefty or righty. I don't care.
All right. So how long do you think they're going to give the leash for Marsh in center field? Because it might be a little bit shorter than they're probably saying out loud, right?
Probably 6 weeks. I would say 6 weeks.
I can't see him starting every game for 6 straight weeks. That's for sure. I don't think it's going to be that long.
Unless dumpster fire. I would say that's probably where their mind is. But if it's a dumpster fire, obviously that changes.
No, I'm not sure. I think we're going to see more Rojas, even early on, as long as he's healthy with the defense. Of course, we're going to need it. That's where
we will see. I mean, there were some thoughts of a defensive replacement lineup late in games this year. Speaking of Nicky C, maybe we go Marsh, Kepler, Rojas late in the games and take Nicky C out.
And really, I'm fine with JT batting above Nick Castellanos. I do think he can be more consistent up there. He's healthy at this point, so I think he's probably our backbone to the team. One of the guys. Him and Schwarber. Their contracts are basically a little underlining story all year long. And I think what we should do is I think JT can come out hot. I think we should pay this man. I really don't. I know we talked about Marchand before, but I think JT batting in this position might be able to solidify himself some bucks early on and get himself a contract soon. So I'm actually excited to see him bat a little bit higher, or bat. What was it, the 5th hole? Right below, or was it 6th hole?
5.
Listen, no one will be happier if JT has a bounce back year than me. I'm just saying, based off of last year, I think Bones hit it. He's kind of getting the benefit of prior years, right? And I don't know if I'm playing that game, but we'll see, right? We'll see. We got some chat activity. Shane R is saying Marsh was killing it in the beginning of the season last year. That's a good point. So we'll see if he can continue that. Guys, anything else on this before we have another exciting segment?
He got hot and then he stunk the rest of the year, right?
Yeah. So let's see if we can figure out when that will be. Slim, you want to transition to your new segment we got going on here?
Absolutely. So all Red Corner listeners, the Red Riders, just so you know, we're going to have a quick little Slim Pick'ems, right? This is what we're going to call the little S&P, Slim and Partners, all right? So if you're here, there's only 2 things, right? You're either watching and you have no idea about the markets, or you're plugged in with Slim, you're a partner, and you know all about these gambling, betting markets, all right? So right baseline, I'm going to give you 3 picks at the end, but there's 3 types of sports watchers. There's your sports watchers. They love the games, right? They go for the social experience, or they're deep in the stats. They play their fantasy football, or they don't give a crap about any extracurriculars. They only care about the game, right? They want the integrity of the game. These people, right? Then there's a second. There's the bettors, right? And these bettors, they love the picks, they love the plays, and they love the parlays, all right? I'm going to be satisfying all you bettors out there. But don't get it twisted. Slim and his partners, we're number 3. We're the winners, right? So we're the ones that treat these games like an actual market. I'm going to give you a quick little glimpse of how you can help yourself when you're making single plays. But anytime you're betting and using money, you must be responsible. You must think long term. And please, 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 please do not blow it all. All right? Please be smart. And if you do end up blowing it all, reach out to me, all right? Because been there, done that, okay? With that said, here are my 3 picks. They're all -1.5. Why do we do -1.5, regardless if it's away or home? Because it's going to save you anywhere between 60 cents to 90 cents. That's a full dollar on the lines. So, Phillies -1.5. The money line now is -176. The -1.5 line is going to probably be around -110 to +110. It's not posted. You're going to have to bang it on Wednesday. It's not on FanDuel or anywhere yet. So you're going to wait till Wednesday. Phillies -1.5 should be about -110 to +110. We're going to go Mets -1.5. And that one's juicy, right? That one should be about +175 to +195. And our third pick is going to be -1.5 again, all for Thursday. Phillies win by 2. The Mets win by 2. And I hate to say it, but 3 games in a row, first place in Major League Baseball, the Dodgers win by 2. That should be around -1. You're going to have to pay a little bit juice there. That's your 3 picks. All 3 of those teams are going to be the 3 best teams in the NL this year. The Dodgers, us, and the Mets, the 3 best teams in the NL this year. They're all going to kick butt on Thursday. You can take them all.
All right, Slim Pick'ems, baby. And as you see there, Slim is extremely knowledgeable about not only like the game of baseball, but the game of sports betting, right? Like there's a lot to know about it. And he is a lot more knowledgeable about it than Bones and I. But, yeah, so we will be tracking his picks all year long. And jump on in, ride with us, because we will be riding with Slim.
Yes, sir.
Boys, anything else you want to do or hit on before we end this show like we do every week with On This Day in Phillies History?
I got nothing besides
Nothing, Jerry?
No, before we get to the last segment.
Okay.
So this date, 1984, Phillies traded Willie Hernandez and Dave Bergman to the Detroit Tigers for John Wilkenfuss and Glenn Wilson. And on this date, 2024, the Phillies traded Chris's favorite player, Jake Cave, to the Colorado Rockies for cash. And now he's playing in Japan.
For $35.
Yeah. Pair of rosin bags.
I'm out. He had a good season last year, right? He started a lot of baseball games. He batted 4th sometimes for the Rockies. Okay?
Bad baseball team.
And now while he couldn't be a starter on a competitive team in the majors, there's a lot of good players. JD Martinez is not on a roster. There's a lot. Who's the other Yankee? He's not on a roster. There's a lot of great baseball players on rosters. Jake Cave is on a competitive baseball roster still, right? So that's all.
He's playing ball. Jake's still playing ball. No, shout out to Jake Cave. We'll be monitoring him.
No, go ahead. Never mind. I think the Yankees. This is reminding me of an old man. Tim Hill just got signed by the Yankees, which is crazy.
Nice. Yeah. Speaking of former Phillies,
Rich Hill.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there? Is it a guy named Tim Hill? Did I mishear something? I might have. Maybe I was thinking Rich Hill. I was like, "There's no way."
Just another guy. But I wanted to highlight this because we were a couple weeks ago. Oh, actually, no, probably at this point, a couple months ago, Slim and Bones made a Scott Kingery home run bet, right? Well, we'll see how that's going to go. So, what was the number? Do you guys remember? Was it 5? Oh, was it 1?
1, yeah.
Okay. So it's still in play because you didn't. Well, actually, no, because you did say for the Angels, right? But we're not going to get technical. We're not going to get technical.
He might be back up.
He could play on anybody. He's not getting a homer because he's not going to play for anybody.
Yeah. They say that they blame Teacher Man. They blame my boy Teacher Man, who one day will get into all that. But you'll learn my betting secrets and my hitting secrets because I used to smash them.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right, boys. Guys, a lot of new chat activity. Thank you for joining us. We had a blast this week. Go Phils, opening day this Thursday. And if you are still here and you have not subscribed, please do. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, -1.5, all of them.
Let's go.